Hello and welcome back to my channel, and to the first book haul of 2019, which for me is odd. We're near the end of January and I'm only just uploading a book haul. If you watched my previous video, I explained some of the reasons for this. Yeah, so you can go and watch the last video to find out why I haven't been here for a while. But I am here and I have a lot of books to show you, like I said in the previous video. 2 years is a long time to not be uploading, and it's also a long time to gather a lot more books. So I'm not going to show you everything I have, but I still have a very substantial amount to show you. Obviously, if you follow me on Goodreads, you will be able to see all the things I'm reading and keep up to date with me and all that stuff. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to start this haul. So, if I'm like, there are books this side and this side which you can't see, there are also books on my bed which you can't see, so if I'm looking around, I'm looking for books. So the first book I have is one that is very hyped on BookTube and has been around for a while, but people are still liking it. There's kind of like a divide. It's The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have a love-hate relationship with Holly Black. I read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town and absolutely loved it. I've read one of the Curse Workers books, the first one, The Red Cat or something like that, and I love that. But then I read Doll Bones, didn't enjoy it at all. I also read Darkest Part of the Forest, which I also didn't enjoy. So I have a love-hate relationship, but I'm interested in this book. It's about this person who gets like whisked off to like a fairyland, but the fairies are like dark and evil, and they have to like betray like a prince or something. So I've heard it's really good, and the second book's going around at the moment and people are very excited about it and loving it, so I thought I would give this one a try. Okay, the next book I want to show you is Bone Talk by Candy Gourlay. Look at this cover. It's designed and illustrated by Kirby Rosales, who's a very famous Filipino artist. He also has quite a few colouring books, which I have shown in previous videos. And this is about a story that I'd never heard anything about. So 100 years ago in the Philippines, I think it's as part of the World Fair that happened in 1899. A lot of Filipinos were like kind of captured to be part of these like tribes to show off at the World Fair. And so this is basically about a boy called Samkad who wants to become a man. He's desperate to be given his own shield, spear and axe. And his best friend Luki wants to be a warrior too, but she's just a girl and that is forbidden. And so it's basically like Candy wanted to explore... Oh wow, look at that sunlight. That's really messing up the video. Anyway, but Candy wanted to explore and tell the story of what it'll be like meeting your captors for the first time. And she is Filipino, so... And I watched a video of an interview with her on YouTube, and she said the reason the book is called Bone Talk is because, let me see if I can find the name of it, the village the boy lives in is called Bontoc, and apparently this is how the captors, I think they were English, how they mispronounced it. They called it Bone Talk instead of Bontoc, which I thought was really funny. Okay, next one I want to talk about is Cold Bath Street by A.J. Hartley. Now if you look at this cover, it's pretty creepy. But then if you do this, I don't know if the lights captures it, you can see there's a ghost. Which is what made me pick this up. And this says, Preston Oldcorn lay quite still, eyes tight shut, trying to shrug off the cold grip of the nightmare. It was 9:22 p.m. It was always 9:22 p.m. A cold hand had plunged into Preston's chest and tightened its icy grip around his heart. In an instant, Preston was dead. Preston finds himself in a desolate world, trapped in the chasm between life and death. Soon discovering that he is not alone, Preston must stay one step ahead of his enemies and discover the mysteries held by this new world as he tries to save his soul. but doing so means braving the darkest and most feared part of the town, Cold Bath Street. So it sounds really creepy, and I've heard rumours of a movie or Netflix show being in the works. So I was quite interested in it. It also has amazing illustrations. Look at this. Let's try to find another one. Very creepy illustrations. But yeah, so I'm excited to get into this. Oh, and also if I'm leaning down here, I'm putting books on the floor because there's nowhere else to put them. The next book I've heard quite a lot about. It's called This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pitcher. And it says, well, basically it's about these kids, and about a year ago there was a house party and somebody died, but nobody knows who killed the person who died. But all the suspects, it says the 5 survivors arrive at an isolated mansion, expecting to compete in a contest with a £50,000 prize. But really, so they expect to like compete in this competition to win 50,000. But the whole point of this experiment is eventually one of them will admit to the killing. So I thought it sounded really interesting, and the cover's really nice. Okay. Now the next book I have to show you is humongous. You could kill somebody with it. Look at it. So this is Nightmares and Dreamscapes by Stephen King. It is huge. I love the cover though. And it says stories. So while I've been away, I've really gotten into short story collections. And there are quite a few to show you in this haul. But this is one of them. I say short stories. Some of these stories are very long. 69 pages, 40 pages, 150 pages. There's a lot of them. And yeah, it's Stephen King, so obviously they're all going to be creepy and disgusting and disturbing, and I'm here for it, even though it is huge. This might be one that I read like periodically, not all at one time, because the text is also quite small. It's not bad, but it's quite small, so it's going to take me a long time to finish it. Okay, the next one I have is Jabberwocky and Other Nonsense Collected Poems by Lewis Carroll. So, I love poetry, and I love Lewis Carroll. And Lewis Carroll, in the Jabberwocky, he actually kind of invented all those words that are in that poem. Well, not all of them, but most of them, which is amazing. So basically, the whole poem is nonsense. And this is just a collection of a hell of a lot of his poems. Yeah, and a lot of them are nonsense poems. And there's about 50 in here, so I'm very excited to get to this at some point. Okay, another short story collection I have is Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. Now, I've heard that this is a lot of people's favourite science fiction short story collection, and I think it looks amazing. It also, one of the short stories in this inspired the Netflix, I think it's the Netflix film Arrival, starring Amy Adams. So yeah, it just looks amazing. On the back it says, with his masterful first collection, multiple award-winning author Ted Chiang deftly blinds human emotion and scientific rationalism in 8 remarkably diverse stories, all told in his trademark, precise and evocative prose. It sounds awesome. And moving on to another short story collection. I've showed this in previous videos, but I wanted to show it again. And it's Other Worlds, which is 10 amazing fantasy stories, edited by John Skishka, and it features stories from Rick Riordan, Sean Tan, Ray Bradbury, Tom Engelberger, and more. And I love science fiction, and so yeah, I thought this sounded really good, and I've heard it's really good. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. It also, I just looking at the back, there's amazing authors. It also features Neil Shusterman, Kenneth Oppel, Shannon Hale, and it just sounds amazing. And it also has illustrations. I say illustrations, I think that's an actual photo. But yeah, excited to get to that one. And then I have New Fears. This is edited by Mark Morris, and it features stories by Nina Allen, aka Benedict, Chaz Brenchley, Ramsey Campbell, Stephen Gallagher, Brady Golden, Christopher Golden, Muriel Gray, Carol Johnston, Brian Keane. There's a lot, and these are horror stories. And I'm excited to read this. And this is the first volume. There is another volume which I also have. This is New Fears, there's New Fears 2. And the publication of these books depends on the sales of the books. So I'm hoping there's going to be a New Fears 3. And yeah, I've heard these stories are amazing. And somebody I know, who's also read this, was reading one of them to me, and it sounded very creepy, and I got lost in it and was very scared. So, yes, that should be a fun time. And then another short story collection is 1,000 Beginnings and Endings. This is edited by Ellen O. and Elsie Chapman, and it is 15 retellings of Asian myths and legends. So that sounds awesome, because these are all stories that I will never have heard of, and they've all been retold from Asian mythology. And it features Renee Adier, Elsie Chapman, Sona Charapotra, Preeti Chiba, Roshani Chokshi, Alie de Bodard, Melissa Dela Cruz, Julie Kagawa, a lot of Cindy Pon, a lot of famous... oh, I just hit myself with a book. A lot of famous authors. And it's also beautiful inside. I will just show you an example. So at the top of every story it has this kind of illustration. But then it also has really cool illustrations throughout the book. If I can find you one, I will show you one. Okay, I can't actually find one, but anyway, it's beautiful and I'm excited to get to it. And the cover is gorgeous. Oh, okay, my books are just about to fall. Okay, so the next book, one of the YouTubers that I follow and absolutely love is Simon from the channel Savage Reads. I think he's amazing. And he was talking about this book, he had an arc of it and he read it and said it was absolutely amazing. And this is Mouthful of Birds by Samantha Schweblin. And this is also a short story collection. Oh, pardon me. And it's described on the back by J.M. Coetzee as the Grimm brothers and Franz Kafka pay a visit to Argentina in Samantha Schweblin's darkly humorous tales of people who have slipped through cracks or fallen down holes into alternate realities. It sounds incredible. I forgot how many stories there are. I think there's 10 or maybe more. Oh wow, no, there's quite a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 stories. It's quite short for 20 stories, but sounds awesome. It also has French flaps, which make it look pretty. Okay, I then have a trilogy of books, which is soon to be more than a trilogy. And this is The Wayward Children by Shauna Maguire. So the first book is Every Heart a Doorway. The second one is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. And the third one is Beneath the Sugar Sky. And the fourth one, In an Absent Dream, comes out soon. And these books are all about a place called Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children. And it's basically a place where these kids can go that have gone to alternative realities through portals. And for one reason or another they have to come back. And it's about, she helps them kind of readjust to normal life. So I think they sound amazing. And I've heard they're really good. Okay, let's go over this side. So, next book I have is called Firebug. And this is by Lish McBride. And it's about a girl who is a firebug. She can start fires with her mind. So that sounds awesome. And I've read, by Stephen King, I've read Carrie. which kind of sounds a bit similar. But yeah, this sounds amazing. Then I have another one that's been going around BookTube and people are loving, and this is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. And this is about a girl called Cass, and her parents are like ghost hunters, and they get an opportunity to move to Scotland to hunt down ghosts and stuff and make a TV show about it. But there's some things that happen and things go awry, and it sounds amazing. And the second one, Tunnel of Bones, comes out soon, and it has a gorgeous cover as well. And I've heard that this is in the works to possibly be a Netflix series, so that sounds incredible. Okay. I then have, these are not short stories, obviously, but I then have the Steeple Jack books. These 3 at the moment, there might be more, by AJ Hartley. So the first one is Steeple Jack, the second one is Firebrand, and the third one, which just came out, is Guardian. And these are about, let me see what they're about because I'm not actually sure. So it says 17-year-old Anglet Sotonga makes a living repairing the chimneys, towers and spires of the city of Bar Salem. Dramatically different communities live and work alongside one another. The white Feldish command the nation's higher echelons of society. The native Mewani are divided between city life and the savannah. And then there's Ang, part of the Laney community who immigrated there generations ago and now mostly live in poverty on Bar Salem's edges. And one of the main character finds somebody dead and decides to investigate. And that's all I know about it. But the cover is amazing. In fact, the cover of all 3 of these books are beautiful. Okay, let's go back over here. So, the next books I have are the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I became interested in these by watching, what's her name? Reagan, Peruse Project's channel, because she goes on about these books and her love of Brandon Sanderson. And I just thought in the end, do you know what? I'm just going to buy them because she described one of them. She was getting her boyfriend Clay to read one of them and he loved it. And yeah, she goes on about them all the time, so I thought I'd pick them up. And the only thing I've read by Brandon Sanderson is The Rhythmatist, which I didn't really enjoy. But these are completely different. And these are about these kings, or these like gods, that draw their power from metal, I think. And yeah, they sound incredible. Okay, I'm running out of space on my floor now. Okay, another book that's been going around BookTube recently and everybody has been raving about is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I think this cover is amazing. Look at it, it's like watercolour. It's gorgeous. And this is basically told through like, well, part novel and part like radio broadcast. And yeah, it's about a murder, basically. And I've heard that if you read all the way to the end, the twist is incredible. And you will never guess the culprit. And I've just heard that this is one amazing book that everybody needs to read this year. So I thought I will pick it up and read it. Oh wow, I've just noticed the rain is coming down hard outside the window. Right. Talking about short stories, I then picked up 3 Collins classics. So I'm kind of, you know, into like classic short stories as well. This is Brothers Grimm's Fairy Tales. And I've heard that these are very dark and disturbing fairy tales, which a lot of the Disney films and stuff are based on. But obviously they made them all nice and light and fluffy. But these are the originals, which are really disturbing. And most of them are only 2 or 3 pages long, so this would not take me long to read at all. Another Collins classic is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories by Washington Irving. That cover is amazing. And Sleepy Hollow with Tim Burton is actually... Tim Burton? It is a Tim Burton film with Johnny Depp. Is actually one of my favourite films of all time. And these are also, again, not very many pages each. There's about 30 stories in here. And I've heard this collection is incredible. And then I really like mythology, so I like Greek mythology, Roman, Egyptian, Arabic. I love all that kind of mythology. So I also got Myths and Legends of Ancient Greece and Rome by E.M. Behrens. And this has all the classic things you would imagine. So it has the Minotaur. Let's see what else it has. Okay. Oh, okay. It's set out a bit differently. There's myths about different characters. So there's myths about Uranus and Gaia, Cronus, Rhea, Zeus, Hera, Themis, Hestia, Demeter, Aphrodite, Helios, Eos, Hecate, Selene, Artemis, Hephaestus, Poseidon. So a lot of myths and legends of ancient Greece and Rome, so I'm excited for this. Okay, we're almost at the end. This video is quite long. I did tell you it was going to be long. I'm saving a few of these till the end because there are stories behind them. So, next things I got. One of my favourite poets of all time is Kate Tempest. I think she's amazing. So I got 3 of her books. I've got Let Them Eat Chaos, Hold Your Own, and I've got what this is called, Running Upon the Wires. And yeah, so these are all poetry collections. Some of them are like one poem. So that's Let Them Eat Chaos. This is Hold Your Own, which I think is a collection because it's quite large. It's bigger than the other ones. And obviously Running Upon the Wires, which I think is one... Oh no, this is a collection as well. But yeah, these are all poems. I haven't read any of those yet. I've only read Ancient... What's it called? Ancient Evils or something? I forgot. But I've only read that one and it's incredible. So the next one I want to show you is The Gun Machine by Warren Ellis. This was recommended to me by somebody, not on BookTube, just one of my friends. And it's basically about a man who used to be a detective and he stumbles upon a room just stocked full of guns, like the most amount of guns you've ever seen in your life. It says this is a collection belonging to someone who's been killing a long time, secretly and very, very effectively. And then this guy investigates who these guns belong to. And the case is nicknamed The Gun Machine case. So yeah, sounds amazing. Oh wow. Okay, the pile of books is kind of teetering and telling me it's going to fall soon, so... Okay. Next thing I want to show you is this, which I don't think has been talked a lot about. It's called The Monsters We Deserve by Marcus Sedgwick. The cover drew me in. I'm not going to lie, it's incredible. And also the artwork inside is beautiful. And I think this is like a modern fairy tale that Marcus Sedgwick has made up. But the whole book in itself is gorgeous. I'll just read you this quote on the back. So it says, "Do monsters always stay in the book where they were born? Are they content to live out their lives on paper and never step foot into the real world?" Oh, so it's kind of giving me a Monster Calls vibes. But yeah, it sounds amazing and it's beautiful. And the naked hardback is just as gorgeous, with just that illustration from the front. But yeah, this sounds amazing. Oh, I don't know where to put things now. I then have 2 books by Atticus, who started on Instagram uploading poems, and then made a collection. Well, made 2 collections actually. So the first one is Love Her Wild, and the new one is The Dark Between Stars. And this combines poetry and photography. Sorry, there was something on it. So there's a photograph and there's a poem to accompany it. And I think that's the whole theme of the whole book. So there's a photograph and a poem. And yeah, I first heard about this particular book on Jesse the Reader's channel. And he loves this poet. And I checked them out on Instagram and also fell in love and decided to pick up their books. And I think this, The Dark Between Stars, I think follows the same format. Yeah, so there's a photograph and a poem. And another photograph and a poem. Some of them don't have any photos to accompany them, but it's still just as beautiful as the first one. And then the last few books I want to talk to you about are FSG Originals. So these are all published by Farrar, Straus and Giroux. And they're all these like really shorter than normal styles. But they publish some really interesting titles. So what I've got at the moment is Gutshot by Amelia Gray. This is one of the books that got me back into reading because Mercy from Mercy's Bookish Musings loves this short story collection. And I saw her talk about it on her channel and decided to pick it up. And I've got quite a chunk of the way through. I'm on page 119. And these short stories are dark and twisted, but also very light and kind of ethereal in a way. But yeah, this is a brilliant short story collection. I recommend it to anyone. I also have another one, which I'm kind of confused because I can't see it and I don't know where it is. Is it over there? No, it's not. Okay, I don't know where it is, but it is another one I wanted to talk about. And it's called Heartbreaker by Maurice Mayer. And it's the same kind of thing as Gutshot. Very creepy, weird stories. But they're awesome. And then another short story collection by the same company is The Dark Dark by Samantha Hunt, which is the same kind of thing, very dark, disturbing short stories, which sound awesome. And then one that isn't short stories is A Burglar's Guide to the City by Jeff Manor. And yeah, it's basically a guy called Jeff Manor, and he kind of like, in this book, he kind of details how people steal and like plan burglaries and stuff and execute them, which to me kind of sounds a bit ominous, like maybe he knows more than he should, but it sounds interesting. See, the different contents, different chapters are called Space Invaders, Crime is Just Another Way to Use the City, Your Building is the Target, Tools of the Trade, Inside Job, A Crime is Nothing You Can't Get Away, A Crime is Nothing If You Can't Get Away, and Burglary Requires Architecture. So yeah, I thought that sounded quite interesting because it's kind of like an insight. By the same company, I also have Will and I by Clay Byers. This is a memoir. And this sounded fascinating. It says, Clay Byers was recovering at home from a near-fatal crash when he suffered a massive stroke. He was just 18 years old. He awoke back in hospital and was told he would be paralysed from the eyes down for the rest of his life. Determined to defy the odds, Clay quickly and miraculously began to recover his mobility but discovered just how different his life would be. A disparity embodied by his identical twin brother Will. As Will went on to graduate from college, marry and start a family, Clay carved out a unique existence, doing the seemingly impossible by living on his own on a remote farm in Alabama. With haunting clarity and heartrending honesty, Will and I tells the unlikely story of Clay's life and his coping mechanisms, including weekly singing lessons that not only teach him to use his voice, but remind him of his will to exist. I thought it sounded incredible. So I picked that one up. I snapped it up. Another one by the same company is Normal by Warren Ellis. I actually showed you Gun Machine just now by the same author. This is a very short one, and it's another science fiction novel. That's all I can say. And then the last one of this whole haul is Threats by Amelia Gray, who also wrote Gutshot. And this is basically a sprawling family drama, but it's very dark and very disturbing. So I'm very excited. So it has a little quote on the back from the book, and it says, "Curl up on my lap. Let me brush your hair with my fingers. I'm singing you a lullaby. I'm testing for structural weakness in your skull." What? If somebody said that to me, I would turn around and whack them and be like, "You can get out of my house." But yeah, sounds incredible. And it's quite a chunker, actually. But I'm excited to get to that. So, that is my first book haul of 2019. And my first book haul in 2 years, which is crazy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need any more information about any of the books, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer you. Yeah, and if I can, I will leave links in the description to my bookstagram and what else? I think that's it. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I hopefully we'll see, I don't know what that was, I hopefully will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.